Over 7 kilograms of melt-in-your-mouth pork belly for only £27. Not only was this Costco deal incredibly cheap, it's possibly the nicest thing I've ever put in my mouth. In this video, I'll show you how to prep it, smoke it, and answer the question, is this better than a brisket? And after trying this, will you ever buy just plain pork ribs again? Let's find out. When I saw this whole pork belly on the bone for £32, I thought it was a deal, but then it had £5 off as well. So I thought, gotta grab me one of these. I've cooked pork belly before and it's always been delicious, but I've never cooked one quite this large. And as we all know, bigger is better, so I thought I'd give it a go. Quick shot of my crotch while walking out the store and back home. Now this thing is an absolute beast, and I was a little bit worried that when I threw it on the counter, it might break it. As I said, it's 7.12 kilograms at only £27 after that £5 discount. If you were to buy a brisket of the same size, it would be at least 3, if not 4 times the price. So, as someone who's always trying to get value for money, or tight as Mrs. Barbecue puts it, I'm wondering, could this replace a brisket? Well, I hope to answer that over the course of the video, and talking about answers to questions, I do have a Q&A to celebrate my 1-year YouTube anniversary. I will answer all my subscribers' questions, no matter how personal. But before we get to that, I've got some skin to remove. I'm going to remove the entire rind from this pork belly because I'm going to be cooking it low and slow, just like I would cook a brisket, and I don't want a bit of soggy skin on it. Who wants soggy skin? Don't worry if you make an absolute hash of it like I have, it's not entering a beauty contest, you're going to eat it. But you will be left with a massive amount of this beautifully useful pork rind. You could do lots of things with it. Make a massive amount of crackling, wear it as a scarf perhaps, I don't know. Or you could do what I did and roll it up, put it in a bowl, put it in the fridge, leave it for about a week and then realise that it's gone off and throw it away. But what's your preferred method of disposing of a pork rind? Do let me know in the comments. I'm going to flip this thing over because we've got a little bit of work to do on the back. Now you do not have to trim this thing at all. I'm just being a bit of a neat perfectionist here, getting rid of some of these scraggly bits, but can't emphasize this enough, you really don't need to do this. One step, however, not to skip would be to either remove the membrane on the back of the ribs, or much easier version that I'm doing is just scoring it with a knife all over in a sort of crisscross pattern. This will stop the membrane from turning into a weird papery thing that stops any of your rub getting through, and make it just dissolve away. Then cover the thing in yellow American mustard. Actually, I think all American mustard's yellow. If you don't like mustard, don't worry, you won't taste it in the end. It's just a binder for this rub. I'm using my homemade barbecue rub. Video on my channel if you want to make it yourself, but you can of course use any barbecue rub you like, just to cover both sides. And fortunately, I had just enough rub to cover this entire pork belly. If you do run out of rub when you're halfway through, just grab some spices out of the cupboard and just chuck some on, experiment. You can't really go too wrong with it, just maybe easy on the chili flakes. Now, as I said, we're going to cook this like a whole pack of brisket, so we want to keep an eye on the internal temperature. So I'm going to use my Ninja Pro Cook. And watch this move here, a little bit behind the scenes. I present it to camera, take it away for the next shot of the barbecue, but actually have to put it back and then turn the camera off, take it outside. And while I'm in honesty mode, I walk outside with some Crocs onto a slippery deck and boom, I absolutely deck it. Now you can clearly see by this still that I am not holding this 7 kilogram pork belly. It is out of my hands, and then very quickly I managed to catch it and I have saved the day. Take it in my stride. Slippy deck, be careful. And I'm just thanking myself that nobody saw it. But hey, let's put it out on the internet so everyone can see it. I squeeze my massive piece of meat into a tight space, and not for the first time make a bit of a mess of it. And I'm cooking this today on my Traeger pellet smoker. You don't have to use a pellet smoker, of course. Any lidded barbecue will do. Just set it up for indirect heat and get it running at about 120 degrees Celsius, which is something degrees Fahrenheit. Then it's just a case of closing the lid and waiting for 6 hours. You may not have to wait 6 hours, of course, because we cook to temperature, not time. You want to cook it until it is 75 degrees Celsius internal, at which point you are ready for the next stage, which is wrapping. Now, a little tip I've got when handling a massive piece of meat like this: use a pizza paddleboard. It can take the whole bit of meat onto it nice and easy, and has the added benefit that you can use it to wrap on. I'm going to wrap this in foil like I often do with a brisket. You could of course use butcher paper if you have access to some. It may even be preferable to foil. Pork belly is incredibly fatty, so should have much less of a chance of drying out than brisket does, so might be a good bet. Anyway, my ideas about the moisture levels in meat to one side. Ooh, we got a little crumb there. Got to try that. Cheeky bite. And then we just wrap it up tight as you can. And this thing is so large, not even my massive Costco foil will go around it. But the second piece of foil sees it nicely tucked away. So close the lid, wait for a further 1, 2, 3 hours maybe, until it's around 95 degrees. Or in this case 96.7. Then you know it's ready. The probe should also drop through the thing like butter. Back in again with the paddle trick, and we're ready to get this thing back inside and have it resting. Now, just like, oh god, I'm struggling with this, aren't I? Come on, get it on, get it on. There we go. I mean, the paddle trick, it's good, but you can still mess it up. Anyway, as I was saying, get this thing inside and rested. Just like a brisket, you could rest this thing for several hours. It's only going to get better and better. I leave it on the side for 1 hour. If you can do any longer, just pop it in the cool box or something. And 1 hour having passed, we're ready to see the final result. And this thing is smelling incredible. As I unwrap it, I can see this thing looks juicy and tender. I don't know if it can look tender, but it does look tender. I'm absolutely ecstatic with the colour on this thing. And considering it's been in foil, I'm quite happy with the bark. As I say, butcher paper might be a good idea too. But let's get that thermometer out and put it on it. Oh no, my chopping board isn't big enough. Well, I'll put it underneath anyway. Actually, watching this back, I can't think why I didn't just cut it up on the pizza paddle. I mean, it's right there. Still, you live and you learn, and it's time to slice into this thing. Now, I'm obviously cutting here on top of a rib, so I can only get so far, but do you know what? That looks incredibly briskety. On a brisket, you've got two different muscles, so you have this sort of separation and this fat seam in between, and exactly the same thing seems to be happening here. Now, this is, of course, pork belly, and the brisket comes from basically the pectoral of the cow, so it's definitely not the same cut, but this thing is looking suspiciously briskety. Now, let's try and get a slice off and see how this is looking. Wow, that looks beautiful. We've got a nice little smoke ring on there. This looks tender. I can even do the back of the knife test. And remember, this is the end of the meat that actually has the rib in it. So this is just above rib meat, as it were. The other side of it, the whole half of it in fact, or even more than half, is pure meat all the way through. Now, I've never carved up one of these before, so I just take a bit of a crack at it, carving on top of the rib for this first bit to see how it turns out. Once I've sliced in about 15 centimeters or so, I then decide to just take it all off the rib and see what I'm left with. And what I am left with is a beautiful pile of delicious succulent pork belly that is just falling apart. It's that tender. Now, this next section is me carving up some pork meat, so I'm going to fill a little bit of the time with my Q&A. So I did ask people to comment on the last couple of videos to give me some questions they would like answers to celebrate my 1 year anniversary of Ed's Barbecue. And ask they did, starting with Lewis Roebuck 3991 said, when did you fall in love with barbecue, and do you remember your first barbecue? Well, I don't remember my first barbecue. It will have been some cheap petrol station briquettes cooking some sausages so they're burnt on the outside and raw in the middle, because that's just the way we did things. I do, however, very distinctly remember my first proper barbecue where I actually learnt some sort of barbecue skills. It was a pork loin. I followed a Malcolm Reed YouTube video and did it on a cheap Argos barbecue that I had using some pretty awful charcoal, but you know what, it turned out really well. I was very happy with it and I've had the bug ever since. That was in, I think, 2020. Next up, Momo Jojo 98 says, what got you into it and what keeps you doing it, especially since it's not the most ideal method of cooking if you're freezing your nads off stood outside in 6-degree weather? Well, Momo Jojo, an excellent question. What got me into it? I always felt that I could cook barbecue. I am a man. It is somehow in my DNA. Yet, what I was cooking was awful stuff, like burnt chicken that was raw in the middle. So at some point I just had to admit to myself that I had not the first clue about barbecue, but I live in the 21st century and we're all only a quick YouTube away from becoming experts at stuff. So I thought I'd actually learn how to barbecue. Watched a bunch of YouTube videos and learnt it, and to be honest I thought actually this is pretty easy. I'm fairly sure anyone could do it, and that was really the spark for me creating the channel. I don't think barbecue is very difficult. I think you can buy some pretty cheap meat, do some fairly basic stuff to it and come up with delicious things. And what keeps me doing it? Well, I think that cooking with fire is one of the most natural things that we do. I think it connects you with nature and all sorts of weird mumbo jumbo like that, but generally I feel happy when I'm cooking over fire. Spares19 asks, if you could go back and start your barbecue journey, what one grill would you buy? Well, I've got I think 9 barbecues at this point. I've actually bought a 10th, but I haven't told Mrs. Barbecue yet. Don't tell her, will you? But if I could keep only one of them or had to start again, I would probably pick the Weber Master Touch, just because it's probably the most fun. You can get all sorts of accessories for it, and it can, in theory, do basically anything, whereas some of the others are sort of one-trick ponies. Next one from I8215. Thanks to Rachel from accounts. I can't afford a Traeger or anything fancy. Do you have a budget alternative? Well, I'll knock it back to the Weber Master Touch. To be honest, I would get one of them. You can pick one up for just over 200 quid and you can do low and slow on them, no problem. Lewis Saunders 2837 says, top 3 smokers you would recommend. Okay, well, I would, again, Weber Master Touch I suppose has to be one of them. Love the Traeger, workhorse, brilliant. And then I'd go for some sort of Kamado. Now, I actually have an Aldi Kamado, and it works great for me, so I don't think you do have to go too expensive. But yeah, to be fair, I probably would go for a Kamado Joe or something like that. They look fantastic and come with loads of accessories. So yeah, talking of accessories, Richard Blakeman 252 asks, what's your number 1 accessory? Well, proper barbecue accessory I'd say would have to be my Only Fire rotisserie that goes on the Weber. Love that thing, great fun. But if it's just a general accessory, the one thing I think you should always have would be a thermometer. I just use like an £8 one from Amazon. Works fine for me, or my heat-proof gloves, which I picked up for a £5 from Screwfix. They're just welding gloves, but yeah, saved me from many burns. Spares19 says, are you going to cook any festive themed meat for Christmas? Well, actually I just bought a massive gammon from Costco, so we expect a video on that fairly soon. Skeptile2 says, did you end up getting a NAS or an external hard drive? Well, thank you for asking. I actually ended up getting both. I store all my videos on my NAS, but I use the external SSD for just editing. But big thank you to all of my subscribers that gave me advice on that. It was very good. Then finally, Liam Morris 1990 says, no matter how personal, how big's your wok? Well, Liam, the way I'd answer that is it doesn't matter how big your wok is, it matters where you're allowed to put it. Well, that wraps up my Q&A. Thank you for humouring me. I hope you're still around. And look at this rib. I mean, that is just pure meat on top of a rib. I don't think I'm ever going to cook a normal thing of baby back ribs or spare ribs ever again. I'm just going to get a pork belly and do it like that. You will have seen me at some point during this carving process removing little bits of cartilage. There are a few bits in there, so just feel through the meat, make sure you're getting all those out. And at the end of it, you'll be left with this massive pile of ridiculously tender, ridiculously juicy, ridiculously flavourful pork belly, including a few of the meatiest ribs that you will ever have. I cannot overstate the value in which this massive piece of pork belly has given me. It was £27 and it's given me the best ribs I've ever had, and honestly a full week's worth of meat that went in sandwiches, salads, because you know, trying to be healthy. And occasionally I'll just go and grab a handful from the fridge, shove it in a bowl, put it in the microwave and just snack on it. Bit of barbecue sauce. It's lovely. But for my meal immediately, I am going to go with a pork belly sandwich with barbecue sauce. This thing is not fancy in the slightest. I'm going with 2 pieces of white bread from Aldi, a good spread of butter, and then I'll just load that thing up with as much pork belly as I think I can get away with. You'll see my little sous chef poking her head through there. I know I don't usually give her things on camera, but rest assured she is the luckiest dog in the world. Slather this thing up with a bit of a Sweet Baby Ray's, again from Costco. This whole massive bottle cost about £4. Good value. Remember to slice your sandwiches diagonally, you're not 7. And for that final presentation touch, stack them one on top of the other. Gets a beautiful cross section. Now tell me, you don't just want to get your laughing gear around this. The only thing that could improve this plate would be one of those meaty ribs. I mean, come on, this thing is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you all for joining me for this special 1-year anniversary edition of Ed's Barbecue. Thank you to everyone who has tuned in this year to watch some idiot barbecue. Love you all.